Hi everyone, Gary Chillingworth here for Airgun World Magazine, Shooting and Country TV. Welcome to Life at the Range. Although once again, we're not out on the range, we're here in the conservatory. And as you can probably hear, it is absolutely tipping it down. I messed up. Now, as you know, we try to put out videos on the first and third Wednesday of every month. It's currently Wednesday, I think the 21st, it's 10:45, and I'm due to have a video coming out tonight in about 6 hours. We filmed yesterday. I've been waiting for a break in the weather because it has just been tipping it down, tipping it down, tipping it down. And the video was how to make a silent target. I had an email from a guy called Rob. You're going to all hear this in a later video. I had an email from a guy called Rob, and he said, Gary, I've got a next door neighbour who's complaining about the tink, tink, tink. I want to make a silent target. Have you got any ideas? Well, it's something we've done in the past, and it's something we know how to do. And I did video and I was shooting a metal target and we had a decibel meter and it was all great. And then we moved on to the silent target, which we use sand. And we also use a baffle to slow the pellet down before it hits the sand. But no matter what I could do, I couldn't get it to be quiet. And I realised what had happened. The sand I was using had got wet. And as such, it was bang, just hitting in every single time. So it works as a brilliant backstop, but it wasn't silent. Now, I know Tilly's gun stocks have been doing some great stuff with silent targets using lead. That seems really, really quiet, but we need to find an easier thing. So I could have put the video out, but it wasn't right. So I decided, no, scrap it. Look, I'll put up some footage now of you, and you'll be able to hear what I'm talking about. And as you can see, it wasn't quiet. So we like to do things and we like to learn things, but there was no real point in putting that video because it didn't work. There you go. So the plan was to go out into the range and to film something today to get it out, but it is just hammering down. And as such, be honest with you, I don't want to go out and get soaking wet, get my gun soaking wet. I've just got it the way I want it to go. So I thought, well, do you know what? We'll do something in here. We'll answer a couple of questions. It's not another Q&A. Well, it is another Q&A, but I'll answer a couple of questions that we've been asked and hopefully we can have a little chat. But I need a bit of help from you. If you've got a way of silencing a target, please let me know in the comments below or drop me an email at lifeatarange@gmail.com. Also, as we're moving well into 2024 now, please tell me if there's anything you'd like me to cover. Right, okay, so a couple of questions we've had recently. Had one about my TX200. There are many like it. In fact, no, there aren't many like it. I think this is fairly unique. This is the frankenstock. And people go, what on earth is it made from? And I had a great email the other day, and I've forgotten your name. I do apologise. Asking how do you set up a a fully adjustable gun to get it to its optimum. And I think that's going to be a really interesting video, and it's something that we're going to do full on. But if you look at this gun, it is very, very adjustable. It's got the adjustable butt pad, it's got the adjustable cheek piece, it's got the hamster, which isn't adjustable, but it was made to the depth that I wanted it. Obviously, it's got the weight at the front. These are just wheel weights, I think 18 gram, 4 strips, about 64 gram. And it's got the Hug It silencer at the top, and that again adds weight to the front to stop flip. But this is a 3D printed butt pad from Brian Sampson. I don't think he makes them anymore. You can get the very, very nice, I'm going to get accused of shilling for PRS again, very nice PRS butt pad, which is fully UK HFT compliant. There are cheaper options. You can get 3D printed butt pads on eBay, but be careful because some of them are not legal. 2¼ inches from the flat to the tip, that's the law. Can adjust it up and down. So if you want to shoot HFT and you're going to rest the butt of your rifle on the ground, we'll go through it quickly how I've adjusted this for me. I slide this down because I'm quite a big chap. I slide this down and I put this on the deck. I get it as low as I can because I want to get the rifle fairly high so that I can shoot over any grass or anything, you know, obstruction. So I always basically just chuck this as low down as I can just to give me that extra stop depth. Now, if you've got a rifle with an adjustable cheek piece, general rule of thumb is if you look at the base of the scope, try and have that roughly to where the top of the comb is, so that when you're laying down and you've got your eye on it, and what you want to do is if you place your finger just below your eye, there is a hard bone just there. You never want to be resting the fleshy part on the cheek comb, because if you've had too much water or you're dehydrated or you put on a couple of pounds, that's going to affect where your head is. If you're always pushing down onto that cheekbone, you're always going to have your eye in the same position every time. So for me, I start off with this part here, literally with the bottom of the scope, and that puts me pretty much on position every time, but you need to find where you are for you. We did a thing once, we'll put up a picture, a really good trick, so that to make sure that you've got your, tell you what, give me 1 second and I'll be back in a minute. We'll show you how to do this and we're gonna have to take that off. But okay, a good little trick, and you're better off using tin foil, but I can't blooming find any. So I've got a little bit of brown paper. Take your bit of tin foil or your bit of brown paper with a tiny little hole in it. Then what you want to do is take your brown paper and you want to wrap it, or your tin foil. That's why tin foil is better, because it's easier to wrap. And then you wrap it around the scope, and tin foil will actually hold it there, you know, because that's what it's designed to do. So you've now got a tiny little hole in slap bang in the center of the scope. Obviously make sure you find the center. So that way when you're putting your cheek on the cheek piece and you're looking through, if you can see through that hole and down the scope, then you know that you're looking through the absolute center of the scope. It's a really clever trick. It's not my invention. I saw somebody else do it. I think it might have been Phil Price. Well, I'll put up a picture of it being done properly if I've got a picture on. I hope I have. And that will get you absolutely lined up, slap bang in the center of your scope. Now, we had another question about mounts. Again, this is something we really do need to get into properly. And somebody said, what are the advantages and disadvantages of high and low mounts? Now, this always creates a big argument. The higher you put the scope above the bore, if you're looking through the scope and you've got any type of cant on it, then obviously the higher the scope is, the more cant it's going to be. The closer it is to the barrel, if you're only like 3 degrees there, the scope just above it is only going to be a couple of degrees out. Whereas if it scopes up high, 3 degrees here is going to be 7 or 8 degrees up here. So you will miss left or right. Now, a lot of people say, oh, if you use a super high mount, and there are a lot of great shooters who do this, then it's going to make your 40 and your 45 yard aim point the same. And they are sort of correct. That when you're looking down, because obviously the pellet goes straight and goes into an arc, if you're looking down at it from a steeper angle, you're looking at it through the shallower point of the arc. But the thing to remember is this gun, if you put a gun in a clamp and you fired it, the pellet is going to go like that. It's going to be that trajectory. No matter if you've got a scope on short mounts, a scope on mediums, a scope on highs, a scope on super highs, nothing you do is going to affect that flight of the pellet. It only affects your perception of the way the pellet flies, the way you're looking at it. So if you've got a 40 yard zero and you put, you know, the crosshairs on the target of 40 yards and the pellet all goes through the same hole, and then you get a target of 45 yards and you put that crosshair on a line, the pellet will hit 20 millimeters below that line. And that might be, with medium mounts, 1/2 mil dot. If you now use super high mounts, it will look like 1/4 mil dot, the drop. But the pellet will still hit 20 millimeters below that crosshair, so below that line. No matter what you do, it will always fly in that arc. And the amount of people who say to me, oh no, it closes everything up at shorter range. It doesn't affect the drop of the pellet. It just affects your perception. But I think this is something we're going to get a laser bore scope, and we're going to measure this, and we're going to try and answer all the questions. Do pellets fly in an arc? Do they fly flat and drop off? We're going to cover all of that. But as a general rule of thumb, I personally like sports match mediums or BKLs and get the scope as close to the barrel as possible. Okay, wheel weights, 60 grams per strip. They're the standard adhesive strips you can buy on eBay. 4 strips of those. Essentially it takes the flip out the rifle. You're not trying to stop the rifle from recoiling, but what you're doing is you're just adding a bit of weight there, and it's inertia. It's still going to recoil, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to get it so that the pellet has left the barrel before it starts to recoil. So you're just trying to slow the recoil down, and the silencer has the same effect, adds a bit more weight. Now this is a Hug-It silencer. You could use a QB or a Viroc, but say I got this Hug-It which I bought off Richard Woods, and I'll be honest with you, the fact that it's silent, or not silent, it's the fact that it's quieter, it's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with accuracy. I needed to do a video on, so it was actually an article on using a silencer, and I put the silencer on, and for some reason the group went from that to that, made it way more accurate. And I know people have put silencers on guns and it's had the opposite effect. But for me, this silencer made this rifle way more accurate, and I don't know why. It might be the harmonics, it might be just that extra little bit of weight, a little bit of length, don't know, but it just made the gun more accurate. Hamster, it's a little bit of 2x1, couple of M6 bolts or M8 bolts I think were, with the these little adapters that you put into the wood and you screw into, and believe it or not, these carbon posts were a couple of, it was a cut down umbrella which I found at work that had broken. Right, the cheek riser is made out of Kydex. Now Kydex is a formable plastic. It comes in a sheet, you heat it up in the oven, it becomes malleable, and what I did is I took a vitamin C tube, you know, like a Barocca, and just formed it over that to give a nice arc, formed it flat onto here, pushed it in tight, drilled a hole through the stock, a couple of bolts so it'll slide up and down. I've now got a cheek riser that will move up and down. And the whole point of doing this is I was trying to create an adjustable stock for under £50 for an article, and I think we succeeded. The gun's done very well. It's won me quite a few bits and bobs, and really happy with it. But you pays your money, you takes your choice. I could do this again, but try and do it nicely. But there's a part of me that likes, I used to have a motorcycle that was a rat bike years ago, so maybe that's where my love of rat guns come into. So yeah, so that's the frankenstock. Right, a couple of other little bits we're just going to go over. Right, had a little bit of crap recently on Facebook, not particularly appreciated of that. People accusing me of only caring about people down south and all of that. Well, anyone who knows me knows that's absolute cobblers. I care about everyone in the sport. I try, you know, I like most people. There's some people I don't get on with, which is fair enough. You know, not everyone's going to like you, and you're not going to like everybody. But accusations that I'm only focusing on people down south is totally unfair. The reason that I focus on people down south is that's where I live. If you want to drive for 3 or 4 hours and come down here to help me with the video, crack on. Let me know you're coming down and I'll put you in a stick video. But I'm not going to do 4 or 5 hours to drive up north to put somebody in a video for the glory of them. I use Malden District because it's my local club. I use the Southern Hunters because it's my local series. I use the people who are around me, A, because they're my friends and they're people I know and they're people I trust. And if you want to be part of my video, well, not everybody now, there are certain people I'll help, certain people I won't. But if you want to be part of my Life at the Range, more than happy to have almost anybody involved, but just drop me an email. And if you're happy to come down to Malden District when I'm going to be there, we're more than happy to use you in a video. But say, let me know first, because there's a few people that I will be telling to go away. Right, British Shooting Show is coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. My son's off to university in September, and we are in university season. So on Friday and Saturday this week, I think we're going to Leeds. I think he's currently at Aston University in Birmingham having a look around, but I think we're going to Leeds on Friday and Saturday. And I'll be back on Sunday, and we could swing by the shooting show, but literally it would be for a couple of hours. And even though I want to see everyone at Brocock and Air Arms and all the guys at Shooting the Country TV and you know, an Airgun World and everybody who's going to be there, I've got to work Sunday night, so I need to come home and go to sleep. And that's the other thing I wanted to have a chat with you about, sleep. I've noticed recently that my bad scores are coming on days when I've come straight off a night shift and I've gone to work. And this is what I need from you. Do any of you, especially if you're a night shift worker, have you found that whether or not sleep is affecting the way you shoot, and have you found any way of combating it? It's something I've been thinking a lot about recently, and I think it's something that is certainly worth looking into. I think we're going to do I'm going to get one of these smartwatches, and we're going to do a sleep study, and we're going to do some articles and videos about how whether or not poor sleep affects the way you shoot. I must admit, my mattress is absolutely buggered, and I don't get particularly good sleep. So if any mattress companies are out there, Emma, if you know, I know you do a lot of people with YouTube. If you want to send me a mattress, I'm sure we could work something out. So yeah, so that's about it. Yeah, so unfortunately not going to make the shooting show. I want to thank everybody for all your help. We've just had a big milestone. We've just hit 1 million views on the channel, and we're going to be doing a special video to celebrate that coming up very, very soon. But I could not have done it without Emily, CJ, Adam, you know, the help from Dave Barham, help from all the shooters, all the people who've helped me with my videos and everything like that, from the family and everyone. So thank you for 1 million views. I promise next video we will not be in the conservatory. We will be, I just noticed that they've got a loose tile. The next video we will be outside shooting. We won't just be in here yakking and all of that. I hope to see you all out on the range or out on the HFT events this year, 2024. They've just announced the World Championships. They're going to be at Borders Wood, 6th and 7th, I think it is, 6th and 7th of September. Go to whfta.org for their portal. I think booking opens in a few weeks' time, and that always sells out really quickly. And obviously we've got the UK HFT starting Misfits end of April, early May, but going ukahft.org, and that will give you all the information you need. So thank you so much. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Be nice to each other, be kind, be nice to me, stop giving me grief, and I'll see you all on the range very, very soon. Ta-da.